Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a special video just because we're during the international break. We'll be doing our Premier League all-time 11s. Now, we have a special set of rules. Not set, it's just one rule, really. And that rule is we can only have three players per club. For example, let's say you wanted to pick Manchester United. Obviously, you can only pick three players, like, let's say, that had their peak at Man United. So you could put in Rooney, you could put in Paul Scholes, and let's say, I don't know, Michael, right? Those are three goalkeepers, players that had peaks at Man United. So you can't have any more United players in your team. So I think we should just get straight into it. But before any of that, player review.
Yes, the player from the last video was Joe Hart. Let us know if you got that in the comments, and we'll give you another 5 facts at the end of the video for the new player.
Perfect, yeah. Some people, like back in the day, might even put Joe Hart in the team, but obviously that's never going to happen nowadays. So let's just get started. We'll start by position. So what did you guys put for goalkeeper?
I've put Peter Schmeichel. Personally, I think he's just the best goalkeeper in Prem history, to be honest. You know, saved United a lot of times and just was great for United. I think even his teammates would say that. So, you know what I mean? It's just easy decision. What about you, Hassan?
I put in Petr Cech. He was a great modern day goalkeeper. To be honest, I wanted to put in Schmeichel, but the rule of 3 United players. United was quite dominant back in the day, so I can't really put a lot of them. But yeah, he was a class goalie, to be fair. Won a lot of trophies with Chelsea as well. So yeah, I put him in. I think he'll do well in the modern game as well. What about you, Khalis?
I put Petr Cech as well. He was a major reason why Chelsea obviously did so well in that era. He won 4 Prems with them, and he was there from the beginning with Jose Mourinho. So yeah, he was consistent. Obviously, he got that head injury, but it didn't stop him. He just wore that helmet and became, just as good as he was before, if not better. So yeah, Petr Cech's my pick for goalkeeper. We're going to move on to the right back position now. What did you guys put for that?
Yeah, I put Kyle Walker, to be fair. Because like you said, with the rule, you can only have 3 players per club. Otherwise, I probably would have put Gary Neville, but I think there are better United players that got into the team. Got in the team for me. Of course, I said Peter Schmeichel in goals. So I put Kyle Walker because personally I think he's like the next best one. A lot of times we've seen how good he was, especially when you like lock down players like Vinicius, Mbappe in the Champions League and stuff like that. Of course, because of why he was good, like his attribute that made him so good was his pace. With age, he's clearly fallen off. I mean, you can see now even with Burnley, he's not as the player he used to be. It's quite clear that he was quite reliant on his pace, but in his prime, he was just one of the best, and that's why he gets in my team, to be fair. Who have you put, Hassan?
Likewise. I put Kyle Walker as well. As you described him pretty well. He was known to be rapid, had a lot of defensive attributes as well. He was good in the air, could put in a tackle as well. I would have put down Gary Neville, but obviously, over the limit, because Gary Neville had a very impressive career, a great leader as well. He was captain for a while as well for United. So I think he would have been the better leader, I'd say, for right back. The experience of all the trophies he's won, speaks for itself. But yeah, I think Kyle Walker probably is individually the best right back of all time, so in the Premier League. So yeah, that's what I put down. What about you, Khalis?
I also agree with you guys. I put Kyle Walker. Not for any particular reason. I think he's Gary Neville's better. I think Kyle Walker, for me as a player, he is good. I think he relies a lot on his pace and physicality, which obviously that's how he plays, and it's worked for him. And he's pocketed some of the best players of his generation. With those attributes. Like you guys said about Gary Neville, he's probably a more complete player. Going forward, the famous overlapping runs with Beckham, could put a cross in. He wasn't very known for scoring goals, but, he's great. But obviously, we got to keep the limit with the 3 players. So Kyle Walker, yeah, on his day, fantastic, pockets every player. I just want to give a little honourable mention. He's not playing in the Prem anymore, but I think if Trent had stayed for the rest of maybe his career or a little bit longer. And obviously with the trajectory Liverpool are at, I think under Klopp he was amazing, and it wasn't, okay, he wasn't the best right back in the world, but he was well up there, But yeah, well, I've gone with Kyle Walker too, so that is the right back position done. Let's go on to centre backs.
Yeah, so I put Van Dijk and Vidic. I think Van Dijk speaks for himself. I think he possesses like every attribute at a world class level. In terms of his defensive, playing with the ball, his IQ, how he reads the game, and I think that's why he can. That's why he's so good even at an older age, and I think he can keep going. I've also put Vidic. Now I was debating whether putting Vidic or Rio Ferdinand from that United side, but I just think Vidic. He won the Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year twice, and he's the only defender that's ever done it. So you got to give him his credit for that, and there's a good reason for it. He was good leader when he at United, especially at the back, and saved them. One of his teammates, I forget, it was a Berbatov, once said he put his head where most people were scared to put their feet. He'd always put his whole body on the line for the team just to win the game. So, you know what I mean? When you have a player like that, he has to just get into the team. So, for me, what about you, Hassan?
Similar to you, I put on Van Dijk and Rio Ferdinand. I think them two players are very similar in terms of what they bring, in terms of a defender. Obviously, I say Rio, it's more suited to the old style, football, but I think that, he's very good on the ball, smooth as it gets, Rolls Royce. Van Dijk, pretty much the same thing as well. But I think Van Dijk physically may be superior. I think he's got the bigger frame, he's the taller person, so I think, that could come in handy, especially in set pieces and whatever. But I think Rio was he was world class on his day. And longevity wise, he was playing at top level for a long time. I would put Vidic as well, but United limit as well, and also I think Vidic is more suited to old style football. He couldn't pass the ball around these two defenders that I've already mentioned. I think he may be more physical and more fearless defender than them two. And don't get me wrong, he's a great defender, but yeah, I just think those two would probably complement the mother game a bit more and offer a bit more than Vidic, even though Vidic was, world class. So yeah, I've gone with those two. What about you, Khalis?
I've gone with the same partnership as Al. I've gone for Van Dijk and Vidic. I think Van Dijk speaks for himself, as you guys already said. I think he's probably the most complete centre-back in Premier League history and arguably of all time. Some might say that. Maybe that's a big assumption, but he's fantastic. His peak, he's competing for the Ballon d'Or with Messi. It's insane to think that, you know what I mean? Obviously, we know how Messi's just the best of all time, isn't he? So, to even be in the conversation, and that season, Messi was incredible that season. I remember he, carried Barca on his back. But the fact that Van Dijk was so close, and I think there was a very tiny point gap. It was something potentially 2 points or something like that.
I think so as well, yeah.
Yeah, so prime Van Dijk was
for a defender's impressive, yeah.
Yeah, insane. So I'd give my vote to Van Dijk. And with Vidic, like Ali was saying, he is fearless. I think as a partnership, it would be a great partnership to see. I think Van Dijk is more calm and composed. I think Vidic, he's not a hothead, but in terms of defending, he wins absolutely everything on the air, on the floor, anywhere. You know what I mean? There's, like Ali was saying, he puts his head where people don't put their feet. There's not really a centre back like him in terms of the quality, consistency, and the fact that he puts his body on the line every single time. So I remember Eric Bailly for Man United back a couple of years ago. He did the kind of same thing. He'd just throw his body everywhere, but some players just can't handle it. They just get injuries. But Vidic, obviously near the end of his career, did get injuries, but he had a very long peak where he was consistent like that. So those are the centre backs done. Let's move over to the left back position. What did you guys put for that?
Yeah, I put Ashley Cole. I don't think it's debatable, to be honest. I think Ashley Cole is the best left back in Prem history. Some people might put in, I think, Dennis Irwin. But personally, I think Ashley Cole, he possessed a lot of great attributes for a left back, defending wise, going forward. He had a lot of it. At world class level, like I say. You know what I mean. Even Ronaldo, I believe, said that. How Ashley Cole, you'd struggle against Ashley Cole, and that just shows how good he is. Because Ronaldo wasn't, won the Ballon d'Or at Man United when he was in the Prem. So it just shows how good of a defender Ashley Cole was. And yeah, like I said, I don't really think there's many left backs in Prem history that were that good. So I think he's quite clearly the best, and that's why he gets in my team. What about you, Hassan?
Yeah, I've gone for Ashley Cole as well. As you said, great defender, can go up and down the pitch, can do the defensive role very well. Also, can contribute to the attack as well. As you said as well, he kept Cristiano locked for a long time. I think there's one time, obviously, where he did the splits and stuff because of Ronaldo. But I think that, he for the most part, he dealt with Ronaldo pretty well. And yeah, he's a great player. He's won it all. I think he's won the Champions League. He has, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's won it all. Basically, he's a great defender. There's two honorable mentions, as I think Ali said, Dennis Owen, but I wasn't old enough, obviously, to see him play.
Yeah.
And of course, you have Patrice Evra put in a conversation as well. Very consistent. Did very well for United as well. But I think Ashley Cole was just. I wouldn't say he's leagues better than Patrice Evra, but I'd say he's definitely a level above him. What about you, Khalis? What do you think?
I mean, it's a landslide. We've all gone for Ashley Cole. For good reason. He is the best left back in Premier League history, and I don't think there's much of a debate. I mean, obviously, we didn't have a debate, so I think that's a fair assumption.
Before I interrupt, though,
I think
there is Robertson as well. I think Robertson has to be in the conversation.
It's not bad, to be fair.
Yeah, in his peak, he was pretty good. But with Ashley Cole, you can't. Yeah,
these are all honourable mentions. You can't, compare.
Of course.
So yeah, Ashley Cole. Obviously, his best time was at Chelsea, but he obviously also had a great time at Arsenal. He was in the Invincible team, so major part of that. But again, we look at we put him down as a Chelsea player, not as an Arsenal player. But you could probably put him down for both. But obviously, his peak was at Chelsea. A part of the Chelsea teams that did great. It's unbelievable what he achieved. Like you said, he locked down so many players, and I think Ronaldo said he's probably his toughest opponent when he was on the left wing, or was it right wing? The right wing at the time, in the Prem. So yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, there's not really much to say. He just is the best because he can defend, he can attack, he's got everything. So yeah, we give him the edge on everybody else. Let's move on to the midfield. I think as a midfield, we're just going to do a collective. Maybe you can say where they're going to play and what their role is, but do you want to go ahead and tell us your midfields?
Yeah, so I've put De Bruyne, Gerrard, and Vieira. I think De Bruyne speaks for himself, realistically. We've seen what he's done in the modern era of the Premier League. He's obviously just left this summer. And everything that he's achieved with City, it speaks for him. You know what I mean? Because he was the most pivotal part of them achieving all that success, in my opinion. The amount of assists he got, even the goals he got, he's just, in my opinion, I think he is the best midfielder in the Prem history. Obviously, that's up for debate. A lot of people might disagree with me. I just think he possessed pretty much everything. Obviously, going forward, not necessarily maybe going, defending wise, but I don't think that was what he was, for per se. For me, he's just got world class attributes going forward. His vision is best to none. I don't think anyone's got the vision like he does, and some of the assists that he got were ridiculous. I'm seeing him assist with his head, a curved header. Like, how do you even do that? How's that possible? You know what I mean? That's just like out of this world type thing. I feel like he just speaks for himself, and I think a lot of people will agree with me that he's got to be in the team. And then you've got Vieira. I think he was a solid leader. Again, like with the rule, because we can only have 3 players per club, I couldn't really put. There was players I wanted to put like Roy Keane and other ones like that. But I think close to Roy Keane in terms of being a leader, it's Vieira. Realistically, obviously, they had that little rivalry when they were playing back in the day. They were both seen as kind of like, I don't want to say similar, but like that leadership that they both possessed. You know what I mean? Is probably why both of their teams were successful at the time. Um, and yeah, I think Vieira was a great captain for Arsenal. And not only that, but he was a great midfielder in terms of, passing, scoring, these kind of things, these attributes, defending especially. He was quite defensive. And yeah, he has possessed a lot of good attributes at a really high level. And I think Arsenal fans will agree with me that he should be in the 11. And then you got Gerrard, probably arguably the best Liverpool player ever. You can put that, either Salah or him. I think it's between them two, in my opinion. Of course, I think maybe he gets up there if he had won the Premier League, but he didn't, unfortunately, by his own doing. But we don't talk about that. But he still won the Champions League and possibly one of the best Champions Leagues in history. You know what I mean? With the way they came back in that final, and he was a great captain for Liverpool. And going forward, some of the goals he scored were just stupid goals. The assists, everything really. Even defending, I think he was able to do everything. You know what I mean? In my opinion, and that's why I think he's in those conversations. In that, look, obviously people are gonna have their different opinions on this, but in that conversation with Lampard, Scholes, or Gerrard, who's the best? In my opinion, I think it's Gerrard. But of course, we've got two United fans here. They might argue it might be Scholes, but personally, I think it's Gerrard. So that's why he goes into my team. Yeah, I don't know who do you got in your midfield, Hassan?
I've got Roy Keane, Kevin De Bruyne, and Steve Gerrard as well. So for Roy Keane, as we all know, great leader. Pivotal to most of United's success. He was very pivotal, especially in the 98-99 season. I think the game in Juventus, I think it was like 3-2 or something. To United. He scored the header actually from a corner, if I remember correctly. So yeah, like Roy Keane, great lead on the pitch, very physical. Obviously, did some silly challenges here and there, but that he's just got passion for the game. You know what I mean? You don't have these players anymore. The loyalty and the amount of courage he had in the team. He could do it. Was very technically gifted as well, but people don't speak about that often. They only know him for like his physical attributes and obviously his defending and stuff. But I feel like he was also very good on the ball. But yeah, I think he's a big part of why United became the team they were. Honestly, and also I think it was kind of sad at the end of his United career, the way he was treated and stuff. But it happens a lot in football. But yeah, I think he's a big United legend, and yeah, he's a huge reason as to why United are the club they are right now. For KDB, as Ali's mentioned, very technically gifted, probably the most technically gifted midfielder in Premier League history. And I respect KDB a lot. The stories about his upbringing, quite difficult upbringing from him. Also, a lot of stuff, that held him back along the way. He wasn't successful at Chelsea, but then went to Wolfsburg, did well there, and then he got the move to City. And, for a player like that, who's gone through a lot of stuff, I have more respect for that. The fact that they didn't give up and, tried harder. And yeah, we might see another player like KDB with his stats, but I think what he done for Man City was incredible. Not as much for Belgium, but I think Belgium as a team, they had the players, Hazard, Courtois, KDB, Lukaku, in his prime as well. But it's just, it didn't work out. But I think, especially for City, the amount of trophies he's won there, he was great. There's nothing much to say about him. And I put in Stevie Gerrard as well. Now, out of the three, Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes, I'd put Scholes, mainly because of his style of play. I love the way he just launched the long balls to left and right. That he had amazing accuracy. I think one of the highest accuracies in Premier League history. So yeah, I say for Scholes' only weakness, I say is defensively. He's not known for that, but that wasn't the point of him. I mean, his passes were pinpoint. Some of his volleys against Aston Villa, especially that goal, was incredible. So yeah, I think Scholes is the better player. But obviously, can't put into many United players. And I still respect Gerrard a lot. Gerrard was basically, kind of a dead horse of a team, to be honest. Let's just say that. Only when Suarez came in, that's when the team started looking better and stuff. But I think Liverpool at that time, they needed to play like Gerrard. Obviously, he had that famous win in Istanbul with Liverpool in the Champions League. So yeah, I feel like he was pivotal for that success, and he's a great box-to-box player. Some of the goals he scored ridiculous. His technique, his shot technique is amazing as well. The low-driven shots, the power volleys and stuff. Yeah, great player. I would put in Scholes, but I think Gerrard is up there as well. Like, you can't deny that. Lampard also very good, prolific goal scorer, but I think Gerrard will probably be more suited for the modern game, and that's why I put him down. What about you, Khalis?
I've probably gone a bit rogue. I actually changed it while you guys were talking. I was thinking, who would be the best for my team? And I'm thinking Roy Keane, Kevin De Bruyne, and Frank Lampard. Now, probably a controversial one. Now, I don't know whether the boys agree with my Frank Lampard pick, but I'll get to that point when I come to Frank Lampard. But Roy Keane can do absolutely everything. He is arguably the most complete midfielder in Premier League history. Can, leader, can score goals, defending. You know what I mean? I think alone, when you talk about, obviously this is not Premier League, but Roy Keane, he had that performance against Juventus where he literally dragged the team from, rock bottom and just literally dragged them to victory. That's what a captain does. He's literally unbelievable. I don't think there's a
I think
captain
Zidane
like
had a
him.
quote on him as well, to be fair, after the game. I think Zidane was
Yeah,
playing the game.
yeah. Zidane. Obviously, you look at the Juventus team. Obviously, they were on paper way better than us. I think they had Henry at the time as well, Davies as well in the midfield. Do you know what I mean?
Scary team.
That team was crazy. But in the end of the day, Roy Keane comes in and clutches up with an incredible header from someone his size. He jumps really high, and that performance was probably one of the best performances from a midfielder in Champions League history. But again, we're not talking about the Champions League career. Is consistency for United. He was a leader. He kept it going. Obviously from a young age, he was always a leader, and he always was great at that aspect of the game. But obviously, he can do more than just that. Obviously, he's not a prolific goal scorer. That's what I want him as my CDM to control the midfield. And I think he is the best for that position. Obviously, Vieira, like you said, is a great player. Don't knock anything from him. But for me, as a captain, as a leader, it has to be Roy Keane. Then we go to Kevin De Bruyne. You guys summed it up very well on him. Creative machine. Like, he can do any type of pass. Like Ali said, that header pass, outside the foot, crossing. Do you know what I mean? And obviously his shooting, he scored that one goal against Newcastle. I just remember the commentary in my head, Peter Jury, De Bruyne! Oh, it was insane. Yeah, that goal was...
Against Real Madrid as well, against Courtois. I remember that one as well.
Yeah, that goal was a belter too. Yeah, De Bruyne is unbelievable. It is... Obviously, we just seen him leave Man City. Obviously, it was quite sad to see him have the season he had last season where, he fell off quite a bit and wasn't really involved at all.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, De Bruyne, like Ali was saying, and Hassan, he was one of the pivotal parts and reasons why Manchester City did what they did. And I think if you have an all-time 11 for the Premier League, you have to have at least one Man City player, and it's got to be Kevin De Bruyne out of any of them. So that's the De Bruyne pick. And now I'm going to go on to my controversial one, Frank Lampard. Now, in my team, I need someone who I've given Roy Keane the defensive duties. He's going to do that. I think De Bruyne and Lampard as a midfield partnership would be incredible. Now, Lampard is obviously known for being a goal scorer. He's got everything to his game. Okay, you could arguably say that Gerrard can do the defensive work and midfield work better, which is a very fair assumption, because obviously Gerrard is fantastic. Obviously, Paul Scholes, creative midfielder and all that, and passing. But I think if you link up De Bruyne's passing and Lampard's finishing in midfield, I just think that will get you a stupid number of goals and assists. Obviously, for both players, I think the link up in midfield would be incredible. That's why I've gone for that. Maybe a bit rogue, maybe a bit more, United bias has kicked in a bit there. But I'll be honest, I think that Lampard and De Bruyne as a midfield partnership would be incredible. Like I said, the numbers would be stupid. So that's why I've gone with that in terms of midfield. Let's go on to the attack. Now, I think we should start off with the right wing position.
Yeah, I think you guys probably agree with me on this one. It has to be Salah. I know a lot of people try to argue with Ronaldo. Of course, he had that Ballon d'Or season when he was at United at right wing, when he at the start of his career, and and that's fair enough. Ronaldo is in my team, but in a different position, which I will talk about later. But Salah for me, yeah, I think it's just the consistency. Every season people try to talk about him and his consistency, if he falls off, he's one season wonder, this and that. But in his first season, he won the Golden Boot in the Premier League, and from then on, obviously with Liverpool now, of course he had that stint at Chelsea, but we don't talk about that. Of course, that wasn't his prime. It was at Liverpool, and it's still going. Even at his age now, putting up the numbers that he is, nearly broke the record for most goals and assists in a season. Just shows how great of a player he is, even at his age. You know what I mean? Some of the goals he scored, and we talk about success and being pivotal to that success, Salah has been that for Liverpool. I think without him, they don't win the trophies that they have. And don't get close to City as they did, Of course, they got close many times, and City are just, a machine. So that's why they didn't get as many trophies as maybe they deserved. But Salah, yeah, for me, I just love watching him play. Some of the goals he can score. Some people, there's always that debate with him and Hazard, yeah, and how Hazard's an entertainer and how Salah's just a boring old goal scorer. I think it's a bit unfair on Salah. I think he is very entertaining to watch. For example, I remember it was back-to-back games. It was against City, I believe, and then Wolves possibly, where he scored pretty much an identical goal. Where
the dribbling for those goals.
Dribbling, crazy, bro, crazy. Like I say, I think it's a bit unfair to say that he's not as entertaining as Hazard. Of course, I do think Hazard is a bit more entertaining, a bit more skillful in that sense. But the way people put it is that as if Salah can't score beautiful goals, can't dribble, and this and that. And I think that's just wrong.
Got the goal against Chelsea, to be fair.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's just a great player, man. And he's a great dribbler.
Yeah.
Got he's got all of the attacking attributes you want from a right winger, especially in the modern game. Of course, in the modern game, right wingers are more known for goal scoring, and he's up there for it. So yeah, I don't think I need to really say much about Salah and why he's in my team. I think it's pretty clear why he's in my team, and I think you guys probably agree with me on why he should be in the team. To be honest, Hassan, who have you put?
Yeah, no, of course you're right. I'll put down Salah as well. You've spoken pretty well about him. As you said, he's not the most pleasing on the eye, but I think that's not his job. His job is to score goals and create goals for the team. And he's done that pretty well last season. Amazing season for him. Also in his first season, as you said, he's won a Golden Boot. Very impressive player. But yeah, in regards to the debate of Hazard, you can't really compare the two. I think Hazard's just more of a dribbler. If someone's known to go at defenders and be more direct. I think Salah is someone who likes to link up pretty well with attackers and just he has a better shot on him, I'd say, than Hazard. But I think you could also include George Best in there, but obviously I wasn't born when he was playing. But obviously the old heads will probably come.
So this is a Prem 11, by the way. This is not the
Yeah, but you can add the top division or the championship.
Just keep it to Prem. Just keep it to Prem. Just keep it to Prem.
Yeah, so in regards to that, Mo Salah is world class. He's had very good seasons. He's been consistent. I remember when he had one season wonder shouts. But I think that's just complete bollocks. I think that he's had very good season with Liverpool since start to finish, and hopefully he doesn't continue to do that this season. But we'll have to see. But yeah, what about you, Khalis?
Yep, Al was right. We are all in agreement. Mo Salah is the right winger for us. For me, with Mo Salah, like the boys were saying, he's just the most consistent right winger in the Premier League. Obviously, won 2 PFA Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. He might have won more than that, but I know he's won at least 2. I think last season just shows he is not just purely a goal scorer. I think he probably could have had way more assists than he already had. Obviously, we know with the likes of Darwin Nunez messing up a lot of chances. Do you know what I mean? Salah's an incredible footballer. The consistency he has put in, season out. Like, if I check the stats, he hasn't scored less than 15 goals in the Premier League for Liverpool. That's like insane.
Yeah, for right wingers, insane. Yeah.
For Liverpool, yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a right winger, and obviously they had multiple. They had that famous front three of Firmino and Mane as well with Salah. Obviously, that was like a perfect working midfield. Like you have midfield attack. Sorry, Firmino would come deep and sacrifice himself for the team, and then Mane and Salah would run riot. Um, yeah, Salah is just. I can't praise him enough, to be honest. Like you said about the comparison with Hazard. Again, they're not even on the right. They're not even on the same side. Do you know what I mean? Hazard's left wing, Salah's right wing. Yeah, I just think that Salah's the best right winger. And I've actually left out somebody, which I'll probably go on to when you guys talk about the next position, that it hurt me to put out. But yeah, I just think that not for the Premier League all-time 11. So we'll move on to left wing. Who did you guys put left wing?
Yeah, I put Henry. I think it's no debate on that. Let's be honest. Henry is arguably, for some people, the best Premier League player of all time. I probably agree with it. The way he carried Arsenal on his back multiple times, even in that Champions League final. I know they didn't win it, but realistically, the only reason they even came close was because of Thierry Henry. And yeah, just he was a prolific scorer. His dribbling was insane, gave defenders nightmares, and I don't think you need to speak so much about him. He spoke for himself, with the way he dribbled, his kind of an arrogance that he had for himself, but he proved it. He talked the talk and walked the walk. He was just an amazing player, and I think, like I say, Arsenal fans will probably agree and explain why he's so good in the comments. Yeah, he possessed everything that you wanted for a left winger. And yeah, no, he's just scoring goals, the dribbling, everything really. He had that all at a world class level for me, so that's why he gets in the Premier League all time 11. And again, he's probably arguably the best Premier League player of all time. I think that just makes it, speaks for itself why he's in the team. Yeah, there's not too much more to say about him, to be honest, for me. Who you got, Hassan, for your left wing?
I've put down Cristiano Ronaldo at left wing. I know he didn't play that position in United, but obviously, when he moved to Real Madrid, that was his preferred position, and he ended up doing better there. Obviously, became a striker after that as well. But I think, Ronaldo, he speaks for himself, arguably the best player of all time. And he was very complete that season, especially in 2008 season. He won the Champions League. He won the Premier League as well. Did he? He won the Premier League as well and the
Which
Champions
season?
League. 2008.
Yeah, he won both.
Yeah.
He won both. Yeah.
Yeah, he won the double. He got the Ballon d'Or, obviously. He had 40-something goals that season. I think quite a few assists as well. Yeah, Ronaldo, as we know him, he also scored that goal in the final, which was, obviously when penalties, he missed his penalty, but, he made us go to the final in the first place. So, yeah, I think Ronaldo, we know him too well. Yeah, I think, obviously you could put in other players in that position, like Thierry Henry. I've got in my team, but, a striker. But, yeah, I think Ronaldo, yeah, he has to be in that conversation. Probably one of the best, seasons of all time for a Premier League player. Yeah, not really much to say about him. But I think that was probably also the most complete version of Ronaldo we've seen. A dribble of the ball, someone who could attack, score goals, any type of goal. I think, yeah, that season of Ronaldo is probably one of the best seasons of Ronaldo we've seen. But yeah, what about you, Khalis? Who have you put down for left wing?
I mean, I agree with what you said about Ronaldo, but I've actually not got him in my team. It really does hurt, and I said that earlier. It hurts not having Ronaldo in this team.
Crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, it's Henry. Henry, I'll put it in very good words. Yeah, he's just the best attacker in Premier League history. Because you've got to take into account the consistency and the longevity. He's been at Arsenal for a long time, and he was, like he said, carried them on their back. The things he did, the goals he scored, the link-ups he had with Bergkamp as well. He had pace, he had strength, he had dribbling, he had shooting, he had every single type of goal. And his goal category for Arsenal as well, insane. So, and obviously I already said it, consistency is the main thing for Thierry Henry. I left out Ronaldo because first and foremost, I would have put him in the right wing position because that's where he won his Ballon d'Or at United, right? And like you said, Cristiano Ronaldo had probably the best individual season, But Ronaldo was only in the Premier League for like 6 years, and that season was the one where you'd say, yeah, probably the most complete attacker. But Henry did it for God knows how many years. I'm not going to say a decade. I think it was less than a decade. But Ronaldo really and truly did it for about 3 seasons and then left. And obviously, we know what he did at Real Madrid, and we know, obviously, between him and Messi for best player of all time. But I just think in the Premier League era, I think it's fair to say that Henry did more. You know what I mean? Obviously, won the Premier League multiple times. I'm not saying Ronaldo didn't, but yeah, I'd edge it to Henry because also Ronaldo is a right winger for United. But we'll move on to the striker position. What did you guys put for striker?
Yeah, look, so I think with Khalis, he's like, with your team, I see like you're kind of making it as if it's a team that would play, maybe. I don't know. Personally, I haven't really bought, like, I'm just putting who I think, like, for example, look, so I put Ronaldo as striker, because I think he has to get into the team. And quite frankly, I'm not taking it like as a team that's going to play, you know what I mean? So I'll just put him at striker because he needs to get into the team for me. And yeah, I think Hassan's, obviously Hassan put him at left wing and explained why he's in his team. And I agree with pretty much a lot of what Hassan said. He won the Ballon d'Or. You know what I mean? Not many Premier League players have won the Ballon d'Or. And he probably had one of the best Premier League seasons a player's ever had in the Premier League. That's why he won the Ballon d'Or, obviously. And he was just so complete as a winger, bro. I mean, the skills he was pulling off, the audacity, you know what I mean? Like Hassan mentioned earlier with what he did to Ashley Cole, made him do the splits. These are things only Ronaldo could have done back in the day, right? And get away with it. Of course, he was getting kicked the absolute shit out of him because of the amount of skills he was doing, and kind of deservedly so. Don't blame the defenders, probably so frustrated trying to play against him, but that just shows how good he was. You know what I mean? He was that good that the only way defenders could stop him was by fouling him. His dribbling was best bar none, in my opinion. I don't think there were you know what I mean, like the Ronaldo chops, the step overs. A lot of players idolize Ronaldo, and there's a good reason why. Because I think he epitomized what it was to be a footballer in that season. You know what I mean? Like what you want to be as a footballer: the dribbling, the skills, the arrogance, the goals, everything. You know what I mean? Everyone wanted to be Ronaldo when they were younger. Of course, I personally prefer Messi in terms of the Messi-Ronaldo debate, but I can really admire Ronaldo as a player, and then I understand why a lot of people idolize him. And when it comes to what kind of player they want to be, yeah, and I understand because on the eye he was an amazing player to watch. And like I said, I think he epitomized what it was to be an attacker in the beautiful game. You know what I mean? So again, I don't think I need to really explain much more. He won the Ballon d'Or, won multiple trophies that season. It's not just multiple trophies, the big trophies, the Premier League and the Champions League. So yeah, I think just that speaks for itself, really. Who have you got, Hassan, at striker?
I've got Thierry Henry as striker. But I do want to talk about Ronaldo just a little bit more. I feel like, obviously, if Giggs wasn't in the team, I think he'd probably play on the left wing. But obviously, that's accommodate for Ronaldo somewhere. But I think Giggs, obviously, we can talk about Giggs as well because he's up there as well as one of the best players. I think he's got the record for the most assists in the Premier League. So
and the most Premier League titles.
Yeah, and the most appearances, I think, as well. One of the most appearances. Yeah. I think only Gareth Barry is more than him.
He's definitely up there, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Giggs, yeah, what a player! I remember his goal against Arsenal in the final, in the FA Cup final. What a solo run! But obviously,
semi-final, no? I think it was
semi-final or final. Was it the replay?
Semi-final. It was a replay. Semi-final. Replay,
yeah. My bad. Yeah. So yeah, I think that about Ronaldo, I think if he played at left wing, he might have had a better season. He might have had better seasons in general, but we'll never know. But yeah, about Thierry Henry, you guys have summed it pretty well. I think he's a great player. He had it all as an attacker. Obviously, we've been speaking about Isak recently as well. He is a player that reminds me of him as well. Similar kind of frame, the way he plays as well, dribbling, and yeah, I say similar players on that level. But I think that Henry, obviously, he just oozes class. Like he's a great player. Obviously, part of the Invincible squad. That team was just insane. Like like the list goes on for my players. You have the Overmars, Lundberg, Bergkamp, Henry, Sol Campbell. You want to name it? Like it's amazing team overall. So yeah, I think Henry is a great player, and yeah, that's what I've got to say about him. You guys spoke up for him pretty well. But what are you, Khalis? Who'd you have at striker?
For me, I've got probably Man United's best ever player in Premier League history, Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney nowadays has become a very underrated footballer. I think people don't know. Very disrespected. People don't understand the value of Wayne Rooney. He's probably the most, I want to say the most complete forward. He can play any position, the most versatile forward. You can play him whatever you want and he will perform and give 8, 9 out of 10. Because this guy, obviously Man United's top goal scorer, for a Scouser, which is, it's a bit of a weird one, Obviously, probably the beginning United fans weren't really happy with him, but, at the end of the day, he's probably one of our best ever players. I think, like Ali was saying, I've kind of built my team in terms of if I wanted to get all these players in their prime. To think about it now, Ronaldo probably should be in this team, but anyway, I'm going to stick with the team that I've gone with. I'd play Rooney at striker and let Salah and Henry go a bit more forward, and I'll let Rooney kind of drop in a little bit because he can do everything. He can obviously play that and help out Lampard and De Bruyne and Roy Keane in the midfield. That's for me. I've kind of built the team to field it. If I was to field it against any team, I'll field them. But yeah, Rooney just. Well, what can you say about Wayne Rooney? He started when he was 16 and scored that goal against Arsenal, and then that just obviously started everything. And then on his Champions League debut for Man United, he scored a hat-trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just showed the level of this guy. People think he's more of a pit bull, he's more of a fighter. This guy had technique for days. He had absolutely everything.
Even later on in his United career, like he dropped back to even centre mid, even Cam.
That's what I'm saying.
His passing was insane. Yeah, his passing was insane.
Versatile. That assist for Van Persie. The bicycle kick against Man City. There's so many Premier League moments you can go for Wayne Rooney. It's unbelievable. And his link up with Ronaldo as well. I probably should have put Ronaldo
Tevez as well. Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo was insane.
But there was those moments, there was those goals that Ronaldo and Rooney linked up for. But obviously, we can only have a couple of only 3 players from each team. And Rooney, for me, is link up with any player. I think obviously with Van Persie, he proved that in the season we won the league. Ronaldo, all the other players, Berbatov. Yeah, even Ibra in the final season for United. Again, Wayne Rooney, just his legacy speaks for himself, and I don't like the fact he's becoming very underrated in the generation. But obviously, if people haven't seen him play, then they're not going to know. But obviously, that's for me. That's my team complete. That's your team complete. Should we go over our teams one more time and just give the whole 11 before we call it a day? So, Al, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so we'll pop up each other's teams. I'll pop up the teams on screen when we're going through them. So for me, we'll start with me. In goals, I had Schmeichel. Right back, I had Kyle Walker. Centre backs, I had Virgil van Dijk and Vidic. Left back, I had Ashley Cole. In my midfield, I had De Bruyne, Vieira, and Gerrard. And in attack, I had a right wing, Salah. Left wing, Thierry Henry. And that striker, I had Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo. What about you, Hassan? What was your team again?
And in goal, I had Petr Cech. Left back was Ashley Cole. My 2 centre backs, Rio Ferdinand and Virgil van Dijk. Right back, Kyle Walker. My 3 centre mids. Well, I'd put 1 CDM. So CDM would be Roy Keane. My 2 centre mids will be KDB and Gerrard. Left wing, Ronaldo. Striker, Henry. And right wing, Salah. What about you, Khalis?
My team is Petr Cech in goals, Kyle Walker right back, Van Dijk, Vidic as the 2 centre backs, Ashley Cole as the left back, Roy Keane as my defensive midfielder, and again this is a midfield 3, but I'm going to say it in this sense. Lampard is more of my box to box. De Bruyne is my more attacking midfielder. Right wing Salah, left wing Henry. And striker is Wayne Rooney. Now, I just wanted to, before we finish this, do you guys want to add a manager onto this?
If you want, yeah.
Yeah, if you
I
want.
mean, you know my
Picking a
answer at this
manager,
point.
why not?
Screw it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Hassan's answer. I know my answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does Al agree with us?
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think we all know who the manager's going to be. Do you want to
Yes,
say?
Alex.
Sir Alex.
Yeah,
Sir Alex.
you know what I mean.
Yep.
Sir Alex.
Yeah.
Speaks for himself,
Simple
you know.
as is.
I think
Guardiola, like, up there as well.
Guardiola's up there, but for me, I don't think there's a manager like. Look, not even just the achievements that he had at United, but I mean, look what he did with Aberdeen. You know what I mean? Guardiola ain't doing that, mate. Bit of a fool, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? He
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
But personally, I think with Guardiola, you got to give him his credit. But the only thing with Guardiola is, could he do it without the money? You know what I mean? That's a question everyone always asks, and
That's true.
we might never see it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why Sir Alex is better for me. And I think a lot of people would agree with us, to be honest. So yeah,
Of course, yeah. Not really much to say about that.
Yeah, no, I obviously the longevity of Sir Alex. He's won 13 league titles. He rebuilt his team like 3 or 4 times,
yeah,
and obviously
different
went
eras
back
of
to back.
the
And
Premier
obviously
League as well.
different eras. He won the Premier League on a three-peat twice, I believe. Obviously, he won the Champions League twice with United. Like he's United's greatest ever manager, and he probably is the greatest manager in Premier League history, bar none. Obviously, Pep comes close, but as a manager himself, the way he manages the club, and he is the boss. Like Fergie, he is the boss. I think Pep is way better as a tactician. I think that's fair to say. But obviously, I think we all agree on Sir Alex Ferguson. So that was our manager, and those are our teams complete. Now, please, guys, if you agree with us, put a like and all that, and get involved. But if you don't agree with us, put your teams in. We want to get interacting with you guys. If we disagree with your players, we might have a little bit of a conversation. But this was a very fun episode to do, just because obviously it's a little bit of a break from the transfers are done now. Games is a little bit of a break. But yeah, it's a nice video to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But before we end, Al, if you want to give us the quiz.
Yeah, so let's start with the first fact. The first fact is he began his senior career at Charlton Athletic, where he was considered one of the brightest young English midfielders of his generation. The second fact is he won the FWA Footballer of the Year award in 2011, despite playing for a team that was relegated. The third fact, he played for 5 different Premier League clubs: Charlton, Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham and Tottenham, and later Fulham in the Championship. Fourth fact, he was capped 18 times for the English national team and even captained them once in 2012. And for the fifth and final fact, known for his tough tackling and leadership, he later went into management with Fulham and Bournemouth. There you go, those are the facts. Let us know if you got that in the comments, and we'll reveal the player in the next episode.
Thank you guys for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified whenever we upload videos. And we will see you next time. Take care.
See ya.
Peace.